Guys, how are we doing? So welcome to Masterclass 5 out of 6. This is our second to last one. Apologies that I'm late, but obviously dad duties took over this evening and I just had to put them first, obviously priorities, but we got here in the end and we're here and we're going to go through what we were going to go through. So what I want you to do is, if you're coming through, please do let me know. Drop a love heart button, hit the love heart button, do comment that you're coming through. And do let me know whether you've watched and if it resonates with you and if this kind of helps you, okay? Excuse me. So one of the things that we have been doing this week is trying to open up people's mindset, the way that people think, the way that people move, and we're introducing our brand new 90-day elite movement, which, by the way, there is only one place available for. One place available, all right? So if you want that last place, there is a link up on this bio here somewhere. Go and read the brochure. Go and make sure it's for you. Or in my bio if you're watching on Instagram, or in the description on YouTube. So we've got one place available for one guy who's ready to come and change, yeah? So what I want to do today is just very much talking about finding direction and how many steps does it take to get to that direction? How do we get there, right? How do we kind of go through this process? Now, some of the hardest things to do is when people come into the world of trying to resurrect their lives, resurrect the way that they're going to be living, shift the dimension, shift the goalposts, and start looking at a different life in a different way, right? Start improving. It's very difficult to suddenly just find direction, okay? Because it could have been months, it could have been years where you suddenly are so used to living a certain way, being kind of lost, being stuck in that rut, being kind of hard to get out of. And this is you, if you like, at the start of that journey when you come in. Now, there's a series, having worked with many guys, there are a series of what I would call set milestones that we would hit that allow us to overcome hurdles, okay? Overcome hurdles. So that when we get to the end of that hurdle state, we are then in a position to find direction. So the whole point of this 90-day elite movement is to take you through a foundational base, an embedding phase, and a growing phase. And as we go through these different phases where we're developing ourselves, we are conditioning our minds to understand ourselves better. And as we evolve and we grow through the process, we then are able to find direction and purpose. It doesn't just come to us. I don't just do 1 week with us and go, yeah, fuck it, I got it, I got my direction, I found the way where I'm going. It doesn't happen like that at all, all right? And you're fucking kidding yourself if you think it does, all right? It takes time. Some blokes, it takes 6 months before they actually start to figure out what they want in their lives. But the whole point is the process from start to finish about how you find yourself, right? So the first step for me is self-awareness, all right? It's not lying to yourself. Now, most men are full of shit. We are full of shit. We lie to ourselves. We bury our head in the sand. We convince ourselves that everything goes all right, okay? When really it's shit. And then we have a few drinks and then we think everything is like we're fucking kings of the world, when really all we're doing is hiding everything that's going on behind the surface, right? We just hide that shit. And when we drink, what it does is allows us to live in a virtual reality world, okay? And that reality world is, oh my God, yeah, everything's fucking tickety-boo. And then we come out of that virtual reality and like we're in the rut. So for me, self-awareness is that first hurdle that we have to overcome. We have to be able to overcome that hurdle, okay? You have to make sure that we are raising the awarenesses, understanding when we're lying to ourselves, understand when we're being negative to ourselves, understand when we're beating ourselves up, understand when we're punishing ourselves, understand when our inner critic is out of hand, okay? And what we must do is recognize this to get out of that rut. So it's kind of like putting the ladder up to get out of that rut, taking the first few runs to get out. And man, when we get out to the other side, we can then start to see daylight, okay? We can start to see daylight and we're not drowning. So the next step when we go along is building up the state of mind. Now, some of you might have read my book, It's a State of Mind. The whole point of that is like everything that you do, it is a state of mind. It's changing the record from, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm stuck in a pity party, I'm becoming a victim rather than a victor. And instead of making excuses and living behind a wall of bullshit, what we end up doing is we end up allowing ourselves to understand ourselves better, building up that state of mind, thinking a little clearer, understanding a bit more about ourselves and understanding the way the patterns of our brain works. Is recognizing that when I get stressed, I drink. Actually, let's put a barrier in between that and let's build a state of mind, say, no, that's not going to be good for us. So let's shift the party here. Okay, let's shift the party. Let's go from one to the other. Fucking hell, guys. There's 500 stars there. Thank you so much. I'm not sure who's sending them, but thank you. I really appreciate them. I'm going to figure out what stars are soon. So we end up changing the record. So what we start doing is putting in what I would call coping mechanisms and blockages to the system. So, oh my God, I'm stressed, I want to drink. No, don't have a drink. It's not going to benefit you. I really want to go out for a run this morning, get to the gym. Mindset like the chimp says, no, stay in bed. It's nice and happy. It's nice and cozy. You can have a big wank in bed and you can chill in bed. And like state of mind goes, no, this is why we must do this. We want to be the elite operator. We want to be on top of our game. And suddenly the state of mind kicks in and we're changing the way that we think. We're changing the record. Then we go across and then we get to the process and we start building momentum, right? Momentum is really key. And then we enter a process. And this is what's happening here through this 90-day elite movement. It's a movement of mind, of body, of soul, of emotion, of mindset. So as we go through that process, that's suddenly when we start building character and identity as a man, right? Most of us probably don't know who we are at some point of our lives as we're going through middle age. You know, we've got the kids, we've got the job, we've got the wife, but I'm just not happy. There's a hole missing. And that's because we got to a point in our lives where we don't recognize ourselves. We don't identify with what we want in our life. We don't identify with what our passions are, desires, our drives, our hunger, right? So when we go through a process, that's when we do start to connect with that. We start to connect with more of our identity, with more of understanding about what we want out of life. And we're moving along this train quite nicely. And then we kind of come to this point where I feel that at points of the journey, through the process, we need to learn to evolve. Okay, I am consistently evolving. The way that I think, the way that I show up, the way that I deliver, the way that I look at the world, the way that I sympathize, the way I talk to people. Like it's a consistent game of evolution where we're changing. And that comes off the back of resilience. We build resilience from doing that, right? Then I kind of think when we get to the end of this train ride or this end of this railway, bang, we then to get to this point where we are, I feel, more clinically ready to find our direction and our purpose. Now, for each individual, everything is different. As we go through this journey right here, some will do it quicker than others, some will find it harder than others. And that depends on your background, that depends on the troubles that you've had, how long you've been wearing a mask, how long you've been distracting yourself. But the whole point of this, right, is to get to this point of direction. And it should be enjoyable. The whole process of resurrecting yourself should be an enjoyable process to watch yourself go through. We're never going to change overnight. We're never going to be fully happy with ourselves. There's always going to be chaos around us. But what we can do is create the own happiness that we have our control in. So we have elements of control in our life. When we focus purely on those elements of control, we can let go of all the things that we don't have control of. And then we find direction and we head on that path. All right, guys? I mean, I could talk to you all night about this, but I think that's just giving you a gist. I want to give you an idea about what we're doing in the mastermind, in the brotherhood, working with our guys. And I'd love for you to come and join us, all right? I say you've got one place left, all right, until the next one, which is the end of March. So if you want to come and join us, we start the course Monday. Got one place left. The link's in the bio. Tomorrow's the last one. We're going to wrap up. It's going to be roughly around 7:30. Don't forget Rise to Thrive show tomorrow morning at 5:30. Nice and sharp, ready to get your day started. Thank you so much to everyone that left a star. I really appreciate you. That's really very, very kind of you. Thanks for coming by. Let me know what you think. Have a great evening.